All right, it's 2:02 p.m. on September 26th. This is a regular meeting of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees. And now I will ask Clerk Rodriguez to do the roll call.
Thank you, Madam President. Trustee Mayberry.
Here.
Vice President Nicolette.
Good afternoon.
I'm here. President Smith.
Here.
Trustee Westlake. Here. Trustee Woodley.
Here.
Trustee Church.
Here.
And our student representative's not here as of yet. Madam President, we got quorum.
Thank you. Our student trustee will not be here today because she has a tennis match right now. So good luck. Good luck. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll move on to item 1.03. So we have an important new member of our team with us, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about her before I share her name. She joins us from the Salem, Oregon area, where she worked at the Salem Kaiser School District. She is our new board services, our executive assistant to the Board of Trustees. Wow, that's going to be a very long business card. And we're very, very glad to have her here. She is recently engaged. She is the proud mom of 2 children, one of whom is an adult, one of whom is a freshman at Reed High School. And we are so glad to have her as a member of our team. Miss Nia Williams. I want to make sure to say your name right. Nia Williams, will you please lead us in the pledge?
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Nia. And now we'll move on to item 1.04, our land acknowledgement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in the hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We acknowledge that some of our educational structures are situated in the traditional homelands of the Washoe, Numu, Northern Paiute, Niwi, Western Shoshone, Nuwu, Southern Paiute peoples. We pay respect to their elders past and present. These lands continue to be a gathering place for Indigenous people, and we recognize their deep connections to these places. We extend our appreciation for the opportunity to live and learn in their territory. Thank you. All right, that closes section 1, and we will now move on to section 2, our consent agenda items. So today for our consent agenda, we have items 2.02 through to 2.11. I have not received any advance notice of pulling any items, so I will ask my colleagues if anyone would like to pull any of these items at this time. All right, seeing no lights. Does anyone have any discussion on those items before we go to public comment? All right, seeing no comment from the dais. JJ, do we have any public comment for items 2.02 to 2.11?
John Eppolito for items 2.05, 2.08, and 2.11.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Mr. Eppolito. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. My name is John Eppolito. I had 4 kids who've gone through the schools. I'm a former K-12 teacher. 2.05, what I see is that you guys, according to the document, the meeting materials, you're trying to make up for student loss with more computers. I think that's backward. I think it's cheap because you're getting money from somewhere. From looking at the document that's online, it says you're going to be paying $100,000 or more. Down here it says $500,000. Over here it says $4 million. I think that's a lot of that's already been approved. But the point is, we're not going to get these kids caught up putting them in front of screens. And experienced teachers know that. It's unfortunate that many of you on this board don't. I think the superintendent does. 2.08, another $723,000 to Microsoft. For what? Putting the kids in front of the screens more. You guys are missing it. I know it's probably too late because you guys don't speak up at the right times. We've been asking for a long time how much money you guys spend on software. We didn't get the standard BS answer from the attorney. We asked not to get that because there isn't a record, but it wouldn't be that hard to figure it out. Chris is here. We know $6.5 million for one software vendor. And just what I've looked at gets us over $10 million just for software, to put kids in front of screens, to get them further behind, and then when the test scores comes out, Jeff brings up that our test scores went down, and all of you sit there like, you don't know what's going on. It really is a shame. Item 2.11, I'm glad my kids are gone, by the way. They just graduated last year. They all did We the People, too, all four of my kids. It was required at my house. In fact, my twin son informed me right before his senior year he wasn't going to be doing We the People. I said, oh yeah? Where are you going to be living this year, Anthony? He did We the People. Anyway, sorry. 2.11, more mental health stuff, another $229,000 for mental health. And I know we need that, and I know a lot of kids need that, a lot of adults need that, but my problem with the mental health is always the same. Who has access to the mental health records? And unfortunately, as soon as something gets an Infinite Campus, it's there forever. And most of these vendors, we've learned, even though Paul messed up at that one meeting a couple years ago, most of these vendors do maintain that database on the kids. We still are waiting to hear how long Communities and Schools maintains it. Paul never did get back to us on that. John Eppolito, Protect Nevada Children.
Thank you, Mr. Eppolito.
That's all I have.
All right. All right, I'll bring it back to my colleagues. I'm looking for a motion to approve items 2.02 to 2.11.
Second.
All right, so motion by Clerk Rodriguez, seconded by Trustee Woodley. Seeing no discussion on the motion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to Section 3. These are our items for presentation, discussion, information, and/or action. And we'll start with item 3.01. This is a presentation and discussion of excellence targets for each of the 5 goals of the Washoe County School District 2023 to 2026 strategic plan, which are a strong start for every child, student voice and advocacy, safety and belonging, academic growth and achievement, and empowering all learners for their future. This is an item for presentation and discussion. This is something that we have been looking forward to for a while because this is really the goals that are coming out of this plan that we've just created for the community. And to walk us through this presentation, we are very pleased to have our guest from Performance Fact, Mutu Fagbai, our own Superintendent, Dr. Susan Enfield, and our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Sengdao Yang Keo.
Thank you, President Smith. And I'll welcome Dr. Keogh up here in the event that she wants to provide some guidance as we go through. And by the way, excellent pronunciation on Mutu's name. I'm sure that he appreciates that. I do just want to take a minute to frame this. I want to start, as I have in the past, by thanking everyone on staff and the community who was a part of crafting this plan. I also want to acknowledge that this plan marks a very significant departure from what our staff and our community are used to when it comes to a strategic plan. It's very focused, it's very bold, but I would argue no bolder than our children need and deserve. And I will share with you that I presented it yesterday at the Spark City Council meeting, and the overwhelming response was a positive one. Councilmember Bybee said that, like I just said, we've never seen anything like this before, but we're inspired, we're excited, and we look forward to partnering with you on that. So all of our trustees have a copy of the plan and of our handy-dandy fold-out cards. I will say that we are in the process of fleshing out a few more of the professional practices and other strategies that are going to help us deliver on these goals. But what we want to walk you through today are the excellence targets that we have identified for each of our goals and how we will measure progress towards those. But this is, I think, a proud and exciting day for the Washoe County School District. And with that, I will turn it over to sorry, Dr. Keogh and Mutu.
Sang, you going first?
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, President Smith and trustees and Dr. Enfield. I want to start by extending my appreciation for having us facilitate the planning process. We last met on June 13th, I believe, and we shared with you then what I will call the skeletal outline, basically the bone structure of the strategic plan. We talked specifically about the goals and then the four pillars. Today, we're going to put some more meat on the bones, a little bit more meat on the skeletal structure that you saw 3.5 months ago. And that's not even the end of the process. After the excellence target conversation, there's one more step, and that is the detailed step-by-step implementation plan. So skeletal structure 3.5 months ago. Today, we dive deeper into the outcomes for students. And then subsequent to today's meeting, we'll talk about the implementation plan. And I'll give you a preview of how that might unfold. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Do you see the PowerPoint on the screen, please? Yes?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Thanks. Just 3 or 4 slides to set the stage. This is the overarching graphic organizer for the work, as you may recall. We begin everything we do with students. So the circle number 1, it's about outcomes for students. Circle number 2, it's about what we have to do well instructionally to get the outcomes for students. And circle number 3 is this support structure we have to have in place. We call it the empowering infrastructure that will ensure that circle number 2 thrives so that all students can get home on time and be well adjusted, be well educated, and so on. So the order of these 3 circles, as we stressed 3 months ago, is really very key. And last time, moving to the right side of the diagram, we shared the promise that hasn't changed. We barely touched on the portrait of a learner. We'll spend a few seconds on that today. But the real work, the real conversation today is around the excellence targets, which I'll walk through. The 4 pillars, really more 4+1, really haven't changed, with safety and connection as the undergirding structure for the pillars of the strategic plan. And Dr. Enfield talked about the professional practices for effective instruction. That work is almost done. We won't share that today. It's a little bit more detailed than we need. But we'll share with you some ideas around how to improve instruction in the core subjects. So with that done, may I ask you to please take out your 4-page pamphlet, the overview of the strategic plan, please. And so that looks like this. Did the screen change to the Sang, did it change to the strategic plan 4-pager?
No,
Or
we
do I
still
need
see you.
Okay, I need a new share. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay. All right. So keeping in mind the slide I just went through with the 3 circles, page 1 of the plan, it's about circle number 1. Page 4, if we go to the back of the document, it's also about outcomes for students. So everything, again, starts with the students. Our promise to students, the portrait of a learner from our school system, it's on the back page. And then on page 2, we have the goals, excellence targets, and measures. And then on page 3, we have the first step in defining what we, the adults, must do well to get the outcomes for students. So kids first on pages 1, 2, and 4. And then on page 3 would be the framing of the work we have to do well to make sure all students are successful. Focus today is on the excellence targets. And for goal 1, which is our strong start for every child, the excellence target that's been proposed is to have at least 75% of our students proficient in English language arts and math by the end of grade 3. It's not 20 because it's a 3-year plan. And even at 15 out of 20, it's a very daunting task. It's a very bold goal. And let me illustrate that by sharing with you some data. Did the screen change to the heat map?
Yes.
Yes? Thank you. Okay. So this is a comparison of how students in 3rd grade are performing across the state. All right. And we've expressed this in terms of out of every 20 students. If you look historically at how 15 counties have performed, only one of them, Lincoln, comes even close to having 12 out of every 20 students. Washoe, we've been at between 8 and 9 for the past few years. And compared to most of the other districts in the state, the Washoe WCSD is actually ahead of the curve in that sense. So what we're asking for with that excellence target is to go from 9 out of every 20 students to 15 out of every 20 students in 3 years. That is very bold, very aggressive, very aspirational. But as Dr. Enfield said, we feel that if we really rally around it and focus on improving our adult practices, we can pull it off. So it's important to just put in context that it won't be 20 out of every 20 students. Getting to 15 out of 20 will put this district in a very different place than most districts across the country. And let me show you what I mean by that. So we have a comparison set here, again, looking at 3rd grade English language arts. We've shown data for 2 districts in California that are somewhat similar to Washoe, Oakland Unified School District, which is my home district, and Washington Unified School District near Sacramento. We've also shown you the data for 2 districts in Oregon, Centennial and Hillsborough. And then we're showing data for some very high ICS districts, not sure is in Washington State. Princeton, it's where Princeton University is, in Princeton, New Jersey, and then Fairfax, Virginia. And as you can see, most of our comparison districts are not even performing quite at the level that Washoe is yet. And then the ones that are very, high wealth districts, even hitting 15 for them is still not an easy target. So the target for ELA and for math, I'm going back to your 4-page document, was the same, going from 9 out of every 20 students to 15 out of every 20 students. Goal number 2 and goal number 3 are you can think of this as a social emotional development goal. Goal number 2 talks about student voice and advocacy. And on that one, it's 100% of students we're proposing will have opportunities to explore interests beyond just the core academics. For example, participation in clubs, activities, athletics, and internships. Goal number 3 is playing in the same area. It's about safety and belonging. And the excellence target is that 100% of our students will say that they're known by name, by strength and need in their school. So an early learning goal, 2 social emotional development goal. And for goal 4, which is the academic goal, the excellence target there again is 15 out of every 20. Because as a district, we've rarely gone beyond 9 or 10 out of every 20 students. So even if we say it's 10, going from 10 to 15 is a 50% change. Again, keep in mind it's for 3 years. The goals are aspirational. The targets are time-stamped. So it's how far we want to get in 3 years from now. Eventually, we want all students to get home, but we know that all of them wouldn't get home at the same time, and not in 3 years. But pulling off from 9 or 10 out of every 20 to 15 out of every 20 will really put the district on the map. And we believe that it's doable. The final goal, it's the transition goal. How do we empower all the learners for the future? And there are 2 excellence targets. The first one is to have at least 95% of our students 19 out of every 20 participate in either dual credit, take AP courses, IB courses, CTE pathways, including JROTC. So it's giving our students multiple pathways for their future. And then the second one is to make sure that before they leave us, they have a written plan regarding their post-graduation aspirations. In the next column, some of the specific metrics we will keep in mind. I won't go through each one of them, but you can see that there'll be multiple measures of our progress towards the excellence targets. And I'm going to close by just talking briefly about the last column, with not in a lot of detail. Again, page 2 will be what we want for students. Page 3 begins to frame the things we, the adults, must do well so that we can achieve the results for students. And these are all very explicit we will statements, and if they align to the four pillars that we shared with you last time. So I'm going to pause there in case you have any questions. And then if time permits, I'd like to just say a few words about an approach to implementing the plan once all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Thank you, Mutu. Thank you, President Smith. And thank you, Mutu. Very quickly, I just want to acknowledge that these are very, very bold goals. As I said, I think that's what our children are deserving of. And I've heard from some people saying, well, what if we don't get there in 3 years? We just keep going, right? So here's the thing. I would rather aim high and fall short than aim low and fall shorter. So let's aim for that 75. And if we get to 68, 69, yay. And then we regroup and figure out what we're going to do more of and differently, and we keep going. So remember, this is just the first 3 years of an ongoing multi-year plan. And I just needed our staff to hear that. I don't want anybody freaking out that if we don't meet that target, anybody's in trouble or anything like that. That's not it. This is about continuous improvement. And I just wanted everybody to be very, very clear on that. And now I'll be quiet so trustees.
Vice President Nicolette.
Thank you, President Smith. Hello, Mutu. It's nice to have you here, even though virtually. I hope all is well. Can you tell me the variables that you used to do the comparison with Washoe County School District and those other districts? How did you choose those districts? Thank you.
Correct. Thank you. Let me go back to what we did was to, let's see, it's the data one. Data, okay. Do you see the data heat map?
No.
No, you don't. Actually, I'll stop sharing. Give me 1 second, please. Share screen. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So for the, we thought we'll do the in-state comparison by just looking at all the counties in the state. So that part was straightforward. Then for the other districts, what we were looking for would be similar districts and also some dissimilar ones, just to show that even the higher performing, generally much more affluent districts, just to see how they're doing. And as you can see, maybe not too well. Is this good enough in terms of the image size?
Yes.
Okay. So what we did was we looked at the racial ethnic distribution for each one of those districts, the proportion of English learners, the economically disadvantaged proportion, and in special ed. And so those were the factors we considered in selecting the 6 or 7 non-Nevada districts that are part of the comparison.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. It's something I might be interested in the future, not for right now, but in the future, as I'm immediately curious how much they fund each student in those school districts. I see, because we're peas in a pod sometimes, Trustee Westlake.
That's what I was.
I love these goals. And I have a question. I love these goals because we are unapologetic about what we believe our children deserve from an excellent public education. We acknowledge where we are now. We acknowledge what we've lived through with the pandemic, but we will not hesitate to point our bat out for a baseball reference and call our home run shot, because that's what our kids deserve. I am wondering, though, and I'm not sure who the right person is for this question, how do we ensure that our staff stays aspirationally engaged in these goals and it does not turn into, like, how do you eat this elephant, or how does it not become disheartening? So how do we keep them aspirationally engaged in reaching this? Now, for the record, I would love after 3 years to see this, but we also recognize the work involved. We can't do that if our staff doesn't feel like they have a path towards making that happen. So I just want to be really clear. So I do have that question, and I want to make sure that we stay focused on how we're supporting our educators and maintaining an eye on caseloads, class ratios, all of those things, so that we're providing the right tools to our professionals so that we can hit that shot when the ball comes at us.
Thank you, President Smith, for that excellent question. So I'll say a number of things. First of all, we continuously progress monitor and we celebrate success along the way. So I think it's really important that we come to you both with the challenges and the successes that we have, and we're very public in those successes so that our team across the district knows that the work they're doing is making a difference. And so we'll monitor that. As I said, we will do a mid-year and end-of-year formal update to the trustees and the public on where we are with our plan, but that doesn't mean that along the way we're not going to follow those things. I will also say this, the professional practices that Mutu and Sang are working on will also lay out those things that at the district level, at the school level, at the classroom level, we believe are going to really move us forward. And I will say we are putting systems in place that will enable the conditions for our staff to do this. Things like the high quality materials adoptions that the trustees have invested in, our iReady investment, all of these things will contribute. But I think you're exactly right to point out that we want to keep people motivated and positive that this is something that we can and will achieve for our children.
Thank you.
Your question really speaks to circle number 3. It's so key. The heavy lift is in the middle with teachers. But by a wide, long mile, they have the toughest job because they're the ones who have the kids every day. That's why circle number 3 is so key. What kinds of infrastructure do we need to put in place? Not just physical infrastructure. What kind of systems and supports must we have in place? Because if we don't do that well, if we don't support the practitioners on the line, we can't pull it off. So ultimately, circle number 2 makes it all happen. But for circle 2 to be strong, we need that empowering infrastructure, very similar to some of the things that Susan just highlighted.
Thank you, Madam President. President Smith, I kind of want to piggyback off your question, and I'm not sure this is for. I appreciate keeping the staff involved and motivated, but can someone kind of explain a little bit, like when this was being designed, how was staff's involvement? Were they weighed in? Principals, things of that nature? Like, how was this kind of designed with staff?
Trustee Rodriguez, this is Dr. Keogh. This was a very collaborative process. So over the course of several months, we had teachers, school leaders, district staff at different levels, parents, students, as well as community members weigh in on where the vision is headed, as well as how we're going to get there, the excellence target. So this has been a really collaborative process. In addition, once we had that information, we came back to the district and we talked about looking specifically for the excellence targets. I want to say something specific to that too, because earlier, Trustee Nicolette, one of the things that we did look at are the most recent data that's been released from the state. And I want to be really clear about this. There is no district that has hit any of these excellence targets. So these are incredibly ambitious excellence targets. We believe that we have the right people here. We have the experts here within Washoe County School District to help lead this work moving forward. That's why we're really excited about the excellence targets. That's why we're excited about our team creating cohesive strategies across different offices, working in service to schools. That's how we're going to get there. And so big picture, it's been a collaborative effort. I know that in the past, MUTU and Performance Fact have shared how collaborative this process has been, and that's really how we're going to make this happen. We're going to do this together by everybody working together.
Thank you, and I'm glad that's on the record, that everyone's involved and on the same page, so appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. It's more of a clarifying question for me. I think Dr. Keogh or the superintendent could answer this. With respect to goal number 1 and the measures, could you just help me understand those 3 items: smarter, balanced assessment, iReady assessment, map growth assessment? Could you just break those down into the grade levels that those tests are being administered at?
Yes, thank you. Smarter Balanced is a requirement with the state, so that's grades 3 to 8 in both ELA and math. That's going to give us access to proficiency data as well as growth targets for students. What we've heard from the field is that sometimes that data comes to us quite late. So one of the big bets that we made is iReady. And iReady is going to give us growth data in real time so that our educators can make instructional shifts to meet the unique needs of students. That's why we're really excited about iReady.
Same grade levels, 3 through 8?
Right now we're doing K through 8 for iReady,
Okay,
and we'll have that for math as well as ELA.
Can I follow on that same?
There's one more, let me just wrap up with map growth. This is the NWEA map growth assessment. That's really it's a state requirement. It's for early literacy. Okay, so specifically K through 3rd grade for literacy. So we do not have access. We are no longer doing that for math. And the reason why, if you recall, this past year we've been talking about making sure that we don't overtest, that we redirect instructional time so that teachers can really meet the needs of students. So the measures really are a purposeful attempt to triangulate data in real time, as well as meet state requirements. And this is us being really strategic and thoughtful so that teachers have exactly what they need to meet the needs of our students.
And these 3 exams, and I'm not looking for nuances here, just real high level. I mean, are they administered multiple times a year to see progress?
Yes, so the SBA is annually. That's just once a year.
Okay.
But MAP is twice a year, and iReady is 3 times a year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt, but you were on the iReady. So for us as trustees, how can we get updated on that? How often? Is it something we can log on, or will it be presented at board meetings?
Thank you. What we are planning on doing is actually creating a website that is going to be public facing so that we can continue to communicate to parents, families, and community members about the progress that we make for each of our different goals. So we anticipate that this is going to be a regular data set and data points that we communicate to folks so that folks can continue to cheer on our educators and see the progress that we're making.
And then that also relates to items 3 and 4. So let's look at goal 4, not item, but goal 4. I'll admit, people like to jokingly say, as you know, and I say, well, I'm not that smart. So I will admit I don't know what access exam is. Can you tell me about that?
Our team, this is a language exam specifically for our English language learners. And so it's going to help us make sure that we're tracking their progress, individual progress, and whether or not they continue to meet the designations for English language learner status.
And then how about the Nevada Science exam?
The Nevada Science exam is a statutory requirement, and I believe it's tested in grades 5 through 8, but I will confirm with the team. It's tested so that we can ensure that we're tracking the progress that students across the state of Nevada are making with regards to our science standards. So it is specifically a statutory requirement.
Nevada statute, okay. And then the only thing I see missing from goal 4, well, 2, ACT, which I understand isn't for everybody, but we do test 100%, and then the school 5-star rating. So if it was up to me, I'd kind of like to see those on there, and this is for discussion only, not an action item, but was that intentional or just kind of an oversight?
So, so these are actual ways that we can measure. The star rating doesn't help us measure. That is one moment in time, those ratings. So that wouldn't be appropriate for the measures here, Trustee Church. We could certainly consider whether ACT might be possible. I'd want to talk with staff about that, but I don't think that the star ratings themselves would be a measure towards progress of the.
Got it. Okay. And then goal 3, and I do have a lot of comments, but I'll hold those to the end because these are just clarifying right now. Goal 3, the discipline data, attendance data, how often will we get that as trustees, or how will that be available?
For goal 3, similar to the other goals, we are going to present some forward-facing data that is regularly updated. In addition, we anticipate that we will publicly present this to the Board of Trustees twice a year. And so there will be an opportunity for this board in particular to see that data and the progress that we make over the years. In addition to that, we will continue our quality of ed presentations, and certainly we can revisit specific data during those presentations.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's certainly quarterly at least. I'd like to see this, but yeah, if it's on some kind of a public website that we can see, that's wonderful. Thank you.
And then one just point of clarification: the excellence targets are really what our students are going to achieve based on the conditions that we put in place. And the reason why I'm stating that is because the state does have star school ratings, but that's specific to the school. And there are many different indicators that go into the star rating system. I'm flagging that because we're going to be looking at a lot of those different indicators, and as Dr. Enfeld has said, those are moments in time. What we're really interested in is how much progress students make over a year and how we can really provide those supports.
Just to follow on with what Trustee Church says, I mean, I really appreciate what you called out for goal 3, because that was also one of the things I had noticed was the disaggregated attendance data. We know, I will speak for myself, I feel like our attendance rates and our chronic absenteeism is something that we're working on in partnership with our communities and our families. And I would like to think that there could potentially be some causation there. So as we continue to strengthen our relationships with our families and guardians, and we get our children to school, I'm very confident that that'll actually show some results as well. So I appreciate that that's going to be one of the things that we can watch, because when I do my school visits, I ask about that. How is your absenteeism? And how are we working with those families to really strengthen their understanding that we can only serve their children when they're in school. So thank you for that. Just wanted to add on to Trustee Church. Any other, does Mutu?
I believe, Mutu, do you have a hard stop at 2:45?
Yes.
So I just want to be sure if he has, because Sang and I can answer further questions, but I know Mutu wanted to talk a little bit about how we're going to monitor implementation of this plan, which he's helping us with. So Mutu, we'll let you wrap it up, and then Sang and I can additional questions.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And some of these ideas actually came up already in the questions by the trustees. Let's see. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I have just 3 slides to go through. The one emphasize that what we've done so far is to plan the work, but then you have to work the plan. And that's usually where a lot of districts fall down. Beautiful plan, a lot of fanfare when it was put together, but not much follow through. Another way of thinking about the strategic plan is that it's a statement of our dreams for our students and for their families and for our community. But dreams don't work unless you actually work to make them happen. And a way we support districts in doing that is something we call a roadmap for discipline implementation. It's a very simple idea. It basically says, chunk the work into very clear bite-sized pieces, and then use your calendar, which is your time, to drive the work. So what we've done, so what we're talking about today is the very first block, the strategic plan, where it's about moving forward as one. The heavy lifting starts at the start of each school year. We call that child the course, having very explicit school improvement plans tied to the strategic plan, having very clear priorities at the district level, and then having a calendar for doing many of the things, the updates that you've called for. So that's start of the school year. And each school can customize the details to meet their needs. Every week, it's about monitoring and adjusting, primarily around instruction. Every month, we call our Learn and Collaborate. That's about capacity building. Then every 6 to 12 weeks, it would be nice to have a data summit. A couple of trustees talked about perhaps every quarter or maybe trimester, where we present to the board and to the entire community the progress on the plan that's been laid out. So 2 chances during the school year, as Sen talked about early on, and then the mid-year and end-of-year review. And at each one of these time intervals, again, this is just an attempt to chunk the work into manageable pieces and to keep us focused. At every point in the process, we look at data. And that really aligns with many of the questions you've asked today already. So there'll be what we call a vital signs scorecard, or many people call it a dashboard. So you can imagine a dashboard that tracks those measures, the third column on page 2. And then we'll not only track the outcomes for students, but we'll also track, at least at a cabinet level, how we're doing on the specific actions that we're taking. So we're tracking the actions in what we call a CPR card, and we're also tracking the outcomes for students. But what makes this work is really fidelity to, tracking our progress and doing what must be done every week, every month, every 6 to 12 weeks, mid-year, end of year. So it's this framework that will be the next step in the planning process. June 13th was the skeletal structure. Today is putting some meat on the bones. And then subsequent to today's meeting, it's about very explicit implementation plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fagbai. Trustees, do we have any questions for Mr. Fagbai before he has to go? But again, the conversation is not over because we still have Dr. Enfield and Dr. Keogh. All right, Mutu, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that, and this is very exciting. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, so Trustee Church, do you want to lead us off with some of the additional?
How did you know that? Sure, thank you very much. First of all, everything I'm covering is public data. I'm a little disappointed this is not an action item because, there's room for action on this kind of thing. The recent stats are just out, September 15th, for the state and for the school district. I will point out, too, as I put this on the record, and I do have some stuff I'm just going to hand to the secretary, that for whatever reason, some of the school district stats are slightly different than the state stats. And I assume that's not that one's wrong, but that somebody interprets it a little bit differently. So that said, for the sake of time, I'm going to go through just the school district. Our graduation rates actually went up 82% to 84%, but at the same time, our math ELA went down to 22% from 26%. Our English language went from 50% proficiency to 45%. And my point is we're seeing a across-the-board decrease in how we're doing. You can't sugarcoat it. No matter which stat you look at, we're not doing well. Our ACT scores went from 17.4 to 17.1. College ready went from 13% to 11%. Now, if my math is right, that means 89% are not college ready. Across the board, again, it's dismal. Our chronic absenteeism per the state, and we just celebrated this, and it went down to about 25%. It just shot back up to 31%. So we went from 34 2 years ago to 25. Now we shot up to 31%. Again, it's very, very disturbing. I realize that the superintendent's only been here a year, So, and this particularly goes back to 2018, our 5-star rating that we talked about. We went from, let me get this right, we went from 9 1-star, bottom rung, to 34 1-star schools in Washoe County. That is extremely troubling. The number of 5-star schools went from 18 to 6. So our top tier went down by a third. Again, I can go on and on. It's on the record, and I'll get it to my trustees if I haven't done it already. But it's extremely, extremely troubling, the direction that we're going. All that said, this is an incredibly ambitious plan, so I hope it works. I hope we deal with it. It's wonderful, but I am just extremely discouraged by all these stats. And again, it's nationwide, it's statewide, but let's take responsibility for what we do here. And I've discussed this with the superintendent. I'm not backdooring anybody. I'm not using confidential data. I'm just very passionate about my feelings on this. But I will share that my opinion, until we deal with the discipline, the drugs on campus, parental involvement, chronic absenteeism, and everything that goes with it, until we deal with that, then, to use the phrase, we're simply rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. This is paramount. Again, what I've heard today is wonderful. We've set some incredibly ambitious goals, so that's all wonderful, but I wanted to bring those stats on the record because I don't think that they've all been put out as well as they should, and thank you very much for allowing me to pontificate.
Thank you, President Smith. Thank you, Trustee Church. First of all, in the spirit of balanced governance, which our trustees do very well, the reason this isn't for action is because the board took action on the what. The what are the goals? The how is for staff to do. So that's why this isn't an action item. I just think that's important to remind the trustees and the public. And you are absolutely right. We very much agree that we are not where we want to be in terms of student performance. And I will say that when the star ratings and the test scores came out, we owned that in the statement that we made publicly. And we know that we have work to do. And I will say this, since I've arrived, I've said, you know, we have really good, hardworking people. What we don't have are equally good, hardworking systems. So we need to put systems in place to allow us to do the work that will lead, and it will lead to improved outcomes for our students. I will also say that, and I'm just going to be in my experience, you are right, we dipped last year. I anticipate perhaps we might see some uptick this year. Next year is when we will really start seeing a steady and significant and sustainable level of improvement. As I have said before, this is a 5 to 7 year endeavor. You are not going to see results in 1 year or 2 year. We will see some gains and we'll celebrate those, but we need to keep saying that. If you want something that isn't just a flash in the pan or a quick moment in time, if you want truly real, meaningful outcomes for students, that takes time. And we are a large system that has been underfunded for a very long time. Our staff has been underfunded for a very long time. We are making up for a lot of lost ground, and we're committed to doing it. I won't make excuses. I will own the fact that we have need to improve, but we also know how we got here, and I think we need to remind ourselves of that too.
One quick comment. Most of those stats, for anybody that wants to look them up, public or trustees, State of Nevada, Department of Education, it's called the report card, and that's where you'll find that. And believe me, I went over it with a fine-tooth comb, and I don't want to embarrass, well, maybe I will, some of the other counties, but being from more or less Mineral County, they've got a lot more road to make up. We make them look good, with all due respect to my Serpent friends in Mineral and Hawthorne, where my wife was born and raised, but we're not alone in this.
All right, I don't see any other lights on. So I'll say thank you so much for this presentation and for this information. And I'm personally very excited to see where we go from here, because our kids give us a reason every single day to get up and to do all this work. and they make it absolutely worth it. So I can't wait for us to start getting these updates and seeing this work as it goes. So thank you so much. All right, so that closes item 3.01 and brings us to item 3.02. And this is an item for possible action. This is the presentation and possible action to approve the uses of the preliminary budget in the total estimated amount of $10 million for implementation and support of the Washoe County School District Strategic Plan. As I mentioned before, this is an item for possible action. In front of us, we still have Dr. Keogh. We also have Dr. Enfield. And then he has miraculously appeared while my eyes have been down, our Chief Financial Officer, Mark Mathers. And now we're going to talk about how are we going to make these things happen, you know, with this funding that we have from the state. And so very excited to have this portion of the conversation, so welcome.
Do you want to go on the first slide? The promise?
Again, our Washoe County School District promise is that we are going to know every student by name, strength, and need so they graduate prepared for the future they choose. And we will deliver on this promise in partnership with our families and community. This presentation is a representation of our commitment. It continues this really critical, important conversation that we just had about the strategic plan. And I'm going to pass it off now to Mr. Mark Mathers.
Thank you, Dr. Keogh. So this really is an immediate follow-up to the last item. As you'll recall, we set aside $10 million during the preparation of our final amended budget in June. We had several conversations in June about that. Set aside $10 million for implementation of the strategic plan you just heard about. And really, you heard our strategic plan consultant talk about infrastructure. You heard our superintendent talk about systems. That's really what this presentation covers, the infrastructure and systems that we need in the district to execute upon the strategic plan. So, you know, immediately after those June budget conversations, Dr. Keogh has met with the chiefs to identify the uses and strategies to execute on the strategic plan. So this has been ongoing conversations and discussions concurrent with development of the strategic plan you just heard about. This is a little bit more fast-forwarded, turbocharged than our multi-month budget process that we usually use, and really that is born out of the need to get going on executing on these strategies and plans. We want to get as much out in front of you before the second semester of this school year, because we know, you know, there's a heavy accountability thrust of the state and internally here too. So we are bringing to you these items. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Keogh to highlight each of these initiatives and programs. But again, the idea here was that we would move as fast as we possibly can. That said, these initiatives are being presented to you for your feedback and also ideas as we do in the budget process. So not looking necessarily for a rubber stamp, but if there's approval, we will move forward expeditiously. If you have feedback, we will certainly take that, and then at the end of this presentation, I'll come back and we can talk about next steps. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Keogh to go through the slides.
Thank you. And team, before we start with goal one, I just want to flag a few things. The process for this really included not just collaboration amongst the team, but we actually informally also went through a needs analysis. Okay, so we really looked at our data to say, what do we need to prioritize in terms of implementation? And that's really what you're going to see when we highlight the initiatives for goals 1 to 5. So in particular, that means that I'm not going to say this for everyone, but these are evidence-based initiatives, which means that we are using research, data, and evidence to prioritize strategies and activities to meet the unique needs of Washoe County School District.
Sang, President Smith,
Yes.
may I? I just want to note one thing. This is preliminary for a reason. We are very early in the process, and we want to make sure that we have latitude to make adjustments, which of course we will bring back to the trustees, but I will give you an example. So launching Kindergarten Jumpstart, that dollar amount is an estimate. It may very well come in above that as we start looking at transportation and other things, but we sort of did our best to put some placeholders in there, and we will continue to refine this, but I just wanted the trustees to be aware of that fact.
Thank you, Dr. Enfield. So as she said, these are estimated budgets. We really did go and crunch the numbers to make sure that these are strong preliminary numbers. But again, as we continue to assess our needs and of course identify which appropriate partners to move forward with, that's going to be the moment where we can then bring forward these recommendations to you. So with Goal 1, Strong Start for Every Child, we are really excited. We are going to launch a Jumpstart Kindergarten across the district, which essentially means that we're going to bring in teachers and students and parents a week early so that students can learn the routines and the processes that really will set them up for success. This is a practice amongst high-performing districts across the nation, and it's really a way to welcome our students into the district and signal explicitly to parents and families that we are deeply committed to this work and setting their students up for success. So that's going to be essentially compensation for our kindergarten teachers because we've got to bring them in. It can be training and supplies for that program. The second prioritized initiative is creating an aligned P3 strategy, really so that we can ensure that there's high quality instructional materials in every class and making sure that we're providing professional learning opportunities to our educators so that they are prepared. They are prepared for all the early learning needs. Now, to be clear about this, we have to elevate the role of high quality early learning. What this can look like too, and we've put this into our strategic plan, but it means that we are going to create a coalition, a network with early learning providers to do many different things. We're going to leverage our resources. So what that can look like is us coming together and sharing professional learning opportunities with these partners. We can also talk about what high quality early learning standards look like and what high quality instructional materials can be across our community.
Dr. President Smith, if I may, Dr. Keough, for those who aren't in the know, I saw Trustee Mayberry lean over. P3 is shorthand for pre-K through grade 3. However, in our work, P3 is the standard term that we use. There's actually a P3 Institute that Christy Cowers runs out of Colorado that many of our staff have received certification in, and it is P3 certification. Our very own Vice President Nicolette counts herself among those. And so P3 for us really represents not just pre-K, but child care providers and others. And we're in the process right now of working with the Children's Cabinet and other partners to truly get a sense of what the lay of the land is so we can establish what currently exists, what the need is, and what that delta is to drive our strategy.
I will jump in really quick as a personal favor and just suggest that wherever we have P3, that we have a footnote that just explains what that is.
You bet.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to jump in. So again, this is our initial preliminary budget for allocation of the $10 million in general fund resources, and so these are mainly ongoing costs. These will go into our budget, but I think it's also important as I read this to note we have significant additional weighted funding dollars, and so what we're not showing you here are the weighted funding resources that we could also apply to a program like this, and that would absolutely be appropriate, legitimate, that we would use to buttress the a little under $1 million you see here. So these don't represent the full cost of these programs necessarily. Right. We're just showing you the general fund cost.
Thank you, team. Specific.
Dr. Keough, yes. Vice President Nicolette.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a little undernote here, and that is that we recognize in the P3 framework that children are all over the Washoe County. And so we embrace the idea that we want children and families and child care providers to partner with us so that they're ready for the rigors, and I'll use that term as a reality, of kindergarten, because we've upped the game there. And so it benefits children, it benefits families, community, and it benefits our teachers.
Thank you, team. Specifically for the 970,000 right now, that would consist of a coordinator position, instructional materials and direct services to students, professional learning and training, and partnerships. So expansion of the work that we're doing so that there is a shared understanding of what high quality early learning looks like within Washoe County School District. So that's 1.4, that's 1,410,000 that we are estimating for goal 1. For goal 2, that's student voice and advocacy. We are very excited about this. We are looking to create and strengthen student advisory councils in every school. And student advisory councils provide an opportunity for school leaders to receive feedback from our most important constituent, students. We're really excited because we believe that students have have a vested interest in helping to inform the overall experience within schools, and that we're opening up two-way communication so that we are prioritizing their voices within helping us to make sure that schools are excellent for all students. So we're very excited about that. In terms of providing supports and services that foster safe learning environments and collaboration, this really is an opportunity for us to provide professional learning, curriculum, and supports to educators, really to close opportunity gaps and improve college and career readiness. The focus will be middle and high school students, and then of course we are going to target our traditionally underserved student groups. Okay, so this really is an opportunity for us to get students involved again, and ensure that they have a voice, a strong voice, so that they have a bright future moving forward. Our other big bet right now is, and we're really excited about this, is expanding extracurricular activities and co-curricular activities. Before school, during school, after school, to include also internship opportunities. Now, this one I'm really excited about because research does say that if students participate in extracurricular and co-curricular activities, that they feel a stronger sense of engagement in school, and stronger attachment, develop strong relationships, trusting relationships with adults within their schools, which then decreases the likelihood of school failure and dropping out. That is why this is such an important big bet. Okay, so we care about whole child development. Of course, they need to know how to read and write, but we really want them to be great citizens within their school communities, and then of course within Washoe County School District. So the goal, the preliminary budget for Goal 2 right now is set at $1,415,000. For Goal 3, safety and belonging, a really important investment that we're making right now is providing direct services and supports to students. And this is essentially what it means. It means that a strategic plan is not just words on a paper that is going to collect us. We actually need to operationalize this. And so we are looking at programming to help us operationalize this so that students can do 3 things. They're going to go through a strengths assessment and help identify their strengths. They're going to share with us their interests. They're also going to tell us what their aspirations are. And the reason why this is so important is it gives educators an opportunity to then provide specific guidance for students. They're going to say, it looks like you're interested in this and you aspire to do this after you graduate from Washoe County School District. Have you thought about joining these clubs and activities or taking this internship opportunity, which then can expand your learning? So we're really excited about that potential investment.
You said so that our educators and teams in our schools have that, but so their families have that information
Yes.
too. Because remember, we're only going to deliver on that promise in partnership with families and community. And so we also want to strengthen that partnership. So as I said at the Youth Mental Health Summit, we're creating Team Kid for every student across the district.
Yes, and I'm excited about this too because some of the ways in which we're looking at operationalizing this would be prioritizing 5th graders through high school students, creating a student success plan, and then also allowing students to create a portfolio that then demonstrates the skills and competencies that we've identified in the portrait of a learner. Okay, that's exciting because as a student can say, here's the evidence and the artifacts that I'm collecting, and I'm going to show you the progress that I'm making in this specific skill and competency over multiple years. It's very, very exciting. We are also, of course, mental and behavioral health supports, helping to provide coordination for students, families, and educators. That's an ongoing, continued investment that we as a school district want to make. And then expanding our parent-teacher home visit program. What I will say about that is we know that we can't move our students very far if there is not real trust in our system. So we have made an investment to expand parent and teacher home visits. And that would not just include specific targeted student groups. No, we are saying that we're going to do this for a very diverse range of students. And that's because all parents and families and our students need to hear that we want to learn about their family and home life, and that we want to learn more about them. And it's also an opportunity for parents to really be engaged with our educators. So we're excited about that initiative. We also heard a little bit earlier that it's really important for us to address chronic absenteeism. So we're going to create a comprehensive strategy to address chronic absenteeism. What that right now looks like is creating mentoring supports, peer and adult mentoring supports for students who are at risk of being chronically absent. In addition, we're going to go through rapid cycles of evaluation. Essentially what that means is we're going to continue to learn about what the root causes are for chronic absenteeism. Then we're going to actually run initiatives where we can use data to say, did we really make a dent in that data? And you're hearing me use very wonky education language, but the reason why that's important is you need to know that we are not planning on rolling out just initiatives. We really are going to track and monitor the progress that we make and then use that data to help us get better. Because once we know better, we can then, as a system, do much better. So we're excited about that. And then what you'll also see...
Can I comment on that? It's probably there, I just don't see it, but much more parental involvement, I think, is needed. I see it expand parental teacher home visits, but more, instead of having them home visit, I want to see the parents in the classroom. I want to see encouraging, this is my opinion, but I want to see encouraging the parents to sit in on the classroom to be sure that the student is there. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Cho. So I'm going to point the trustees to one of our prioritized actions. This is page 3 in the strategic plan, which we just heard about. One of the things that we are going to do is increase opportunities for parents and community members to be involved within their schools, okay, in very meaningful ways. So yes, it's not included in this specific thing, but as Mr. Mark Mathers has shared earlier, not all of our comprehensive initiatives are included in this limited preliminary budget for $10 million.
If I can also jump in, just so everyone knows too, I mean, I'm a parent with kids in the district, and all parents or guardians have access to Infinite Campus, and that is updated by class and also in the morning and the afternoon if your child's in kindergarten. So for any parent who wants to know where their child is, I assure you that Infinite Campus alerts you by the class or by, again, morning or afternoon for elementary age students, so that parents have a real-time update on whether or not their children are in school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to share this. I was very pleased to hear. I started my school visits, and a lot of the principals have told me that they have gotten a lot more volunteers this school year, that they definitely see an uptick in parent, grandparent involvement. So that was really, I really, really appreciated that, because I think that, as I think all of the trustees, it's very important for our parents to be actively involved.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. The last item for goal 3 that I wanted to highlight and bring to your attention is that we are seeking to provide additional translation services for our parents and families and guardians to make sure that critical information is accessible to our parents. In addition, looking at additional supports and training for our parents so that they can be engaged in meaningful ways. So we're very excited about that. The total estimated preliminary budget for Goal 3 is $2,340,000. Goal 4, academic growth and achievement. I just want to reiterate what Mr. Mark Mathers has said earlier, which is we have other funding streams right now, specifically weighted funding, where we're going to invest heavily in academic growth and achievement. So some might say, oh, this looks like $1,570,000 only, but this is not comprehensive. It does not include the other significant investments that we will make in academic growth and achievement. For Goal 4, we are proposing some money to increase the supports to school leadership teams, and in particular that would be around school and continuous improvement. So really expanding our capacity to provide those targeted supports. Again, to look at data, to look at evidence-based activities and strategies specific to schools, which also means that school performance plans in particular need to be aligned with the district strategy plan. Okay, so that school principals and our teachers have already a full-time job. It's really hard for them to do this all by themselves. So this is us saying explicitly that the district is going to provide additional targeted supports for school improvement. In addition, you've heard me use the words evidence-based. We have really, I think, one of the strongest research and evaluation teams in the entire state. And building upon their capacity is going to be critical for us to do this work. As we roll out initiatives, we are going to look at our data pre-initiative rollout. We're also going to look as we roll out the initiatives, and then we will examine, is this working? For whom is it working? Under what conditions is it working? That means a real investment in research and evaluation and making sure that we can bring forward data to you all as well as to parents and families and communities around what works to improve school and student outcomes. I will say for those who are particularly interested in it, essentially what it means is we know that we are stewards of public education funds. We want to be great stewards of public education funds. And this is an investment to make sure that we are really spending our money on what works to improve student and school outcomes. Okay. The last thing is we do actually also need to enhance our reporting structure. So you've heard Dr. Enfield talk about making sure that we put good systems in place. So we actually need to invest in some systems that help to ensure that our educators have all the supports that they need. So that also is going into Goal 4 for a total of an estimated preliminary budget of $1,570,000. We have two more items. Goal 5, empowering all learners for their future. And this one is really exciting too. We are in the process of examining alternative options for our students to make sure that we're meeting all of their different needs and creating a really rich, strong menu of options for students. In addition, because we want to make sure that we help prepare students for a very bright future of their choice, we are providing expanding our capacity for counseling and really providing personalized guidance so that students have an opportunity to create, again, get the guidance that they need to meet their greatest aspirations. We're excited about this. We're exploring options and programming so that we can, because as you know, school counselors in particular, their job is really hard. And so building that capacity so that every student is seen and heard, and we prioritize, we are absolutely prioritizing that here. The last I will say is one of our big bets is expanding our offerings so that more students and diverse student groups can successfully engage in advanced courses such as advanced placement, IB, and then, of course, CTE courses, dual credit courses, and internships. We are excited about this. Here's what it might look like. creating free online courses anytime, anywhere for students, so that regardless of what high school they go to, if there is not a statistics AP teacher there, and we've got a student who's excited about that, that we meaningfully connect them to these real opportunities. So goal 5, we have estimated at $1,575,000. The last slide that I'm going to share with you is really district-wide supports. And these are system-level investments that we absolutely need to make sure that this all happens. The first is a system for talent and fiscal, we call it enterprise resource planning. It's essentially an opportunity for our team to have a system that helps us with HR functions, internal HR functions, as well as business management functions.
Yeah, if trustees have, I'm sorry, President Smith, if trustees have heard people lament the challenges with Business Plus, if you mention Business Plus to anyone in the organization who interfaces with it, you'll get a unanimously similar response. So we are looking to, and we are in the process right now of doing the work to bring on board a new ERP system that would not only replace Business Plus, but also meet our HR needs as well, because we're doing things manually right now that should be automated. So I just want folks to know that that's exactly what that's talking about.
Thank you, Dr. Enfield. And then we also want to redesign and relaunch a district website. It is, sorry, was not expecting that. It is so important for us to make sure that it is user-friendly for our families, parents, and guardians. Okay, and so that's why we're making this request. Again, we're very excited about that particular initiative. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're providing supports to district staff and school leaders for successful implementation of the plan. So that means continued ongoing supports to ensure that there is coherence, that we are progress monitoring our goals, and that we're reporting in a timely fashion and a transparent fashion to our parents, families, and community members. So this totals $1,616,000 for our district-wide supports, and for a total preliminary budget of $9,926,000. Before I pass it off to my colleague, my wonderful colleague, Mr. Mark Mathers, I want to just remind you all that $10 million is a significant investment. We are so thankful and appreciative of this investment in helping us to successfully implement upon the strategic plan. And these do not represent all of the wonderful initiatives that our incredible staff members are pushing out within schools and across the district.
So I think this would be, before I kind of wrap it up and talk about next steps, if there's any additional feedback or questions, I think this would be the opportune time to go over that.
Absolutely. Okay. I have some clarifying points if we could go back. So I'll start with goal 1. Is the intention that the Jumpstart Kindergarten would begin in this 2024 school year? Yes. Okay, I think that's great. A recommendation would be, and again, so actually I'm going to take a step back before I just jump in, because sometimes I blur my lines between being a trustee with my colleagues versus my role as managing the meeting. So just so everyone understands, these are broad stroke goals. These are not fully set. By potentially approving this tasks the team to go in and really start figuring out how much these things cost. What is it that they really need to do? We will get, again, as a body, a much more specific plan. Okay, and at that time, we could maybe be a little bit more prescriptive in terms of small changes. These are broad strokes that allow them to go and to start building this out based on our high-level feedback, if you will. But we're going to see this again. Okay, so just so that my colleagues understand that. And that's why we're really providing, like I said, broad strokes feedback. They'll do that work, and then we will get a more specific plan brought back to us. So just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that. On that note, the reason why I caught myself on that was because this is not part of a motion, but just as we talk out loud with the clarification, I know many families in kindergarten plan to have their assessment later in that first week of school as a way of extending their summer. And so I would want, my suggestion as we talk openly about ideas is that this be ready to be, whether you have to come back to us for final approval or not on this, so that right as kindergarten registration is happening, that there are no confusions whatsoever that this program is going to be offered, so that families can be aware. And I particularly like this idea because I think that this will help with some of the dip in kindergarten registration. We know this year was a little unique because the age range was changed by the state, but it is also true that more families are keeping their smaller children home and not really enrolling them into first grade. And of course, our parents make the decisions that they feel is best, but losing that opportunity to be exposed to high quality kindergarten and bringing them immediately into first grade as their first instructional experience can be a really difficult experience. And so I like this program because I think that will help address some of this too. So that was my question, that the Jumpstart will start in the next school year. Yes, okay. The next one goes over to goal 5, and I wondered could dual language or is dual language learning contemplated somewhere in here? I know that this is not exhaustive, so I don't expect it to be exhaustive, but when we look at expanding offerings, dual language is one of those offerings that I know was very prevalent in our community voices from the strategic plan. But again, I know that your small rows and columns cannot be everything.
Yes, President Smith, so I've had a number of conversations with families, community members, staff who have expressed an interest in dual language. I don't think it's any secret. I'm a huge proponent of dual language and expanded it significantly in my former district. We are certainly open to that conversation. That said, we have so many foundational pieces to put in place right now. I can't speak to exactly when we could take that on, but it should certainly be part of the conversation. But in terms of implementing, that's going to take a little bit of time because we have some foundational pieces we have to get put in place.
Okay, thank you for that. And so something I just wanted to offer as an overall point, and then I'll see if my other colleagues want to jump in. I see Trustee Mayberry with his light on. I very much like these broad strokes. I'm excited to see what we build out here. Just as a general feeling, I would ask that the weight of the priority and what we develop be focused more so on people and positions. And that does not diminish the importance of programs like we just talked about with Business Plus. Programs are important. So I am not minimizing systems or analysis, but I do want to just emphasize that we know that there's a high correlation when we have high quality educators and staff members actually doing this work. And so when we do develop our next stage plans, I hope that we can keep a weighted priority on that. Trustee Mayberry.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that. And I apologize for my restrained jubilation on the website. It was just sort of came out. And I'll ask about that. I don't have too many questions. And I do appreciate the President stating that this is preliminary, that I was a little, I don't know if concern's a good word or not, but I know it's very high level, very general, and I would prefer to see a little deeper dive, some more specifics, but I understand that'll come back to us. I understand this is a preliminary, it's synonymous with drafts, or so there's still some work to be done. And I had a conversation with the superintendent yesterday, in fact, regarding goal number 2, and I think you did a great job of talking about the importance of extracurricular activities, sports clubs, and with that we have coaches and club advisors that have maintained the same rate of pay. And I wanted, in fact, I asked the superintendent if I could ask the question and she would respond, how we could provide an increase of pay, more equity as we begin to really embrace this goal. Could I ask you? Could I put you on the spot?
Yeah, so we're committed to looking at what we can do to support our coaches and advisors, and that's ongoing work. I don't have a timeline for you yet, Trustee Mayberry, but we'll keep you posted.
But it does sound like it's something that we're moving toward, that the district is well aware of it. safety and belonging, the mental health care coordination for students, families, educators. Can you give us a little better description of what that looks like? Are these programs? Are these personnel?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, this would be a program, and part of that, I didn't say this earlier, but as you know, we are now ending federal relief funds. We're in the final months, really, of leveraging federal relief funds, which essentially means that there are all these activities and wonderful programs that we made available to our students, staff, and parents and families. Those will end if we don't make ongoing continued investments. So this is one of those investments where this is a program that we did have funded potentially from federal relief funds, and we are proposing to continue it so that we do not disrupt services to our students and families.
Okay, thank you for that. And then,
Trustee Mabry,
sorry, go ahead, please.
but again, because we're bringing this to you preliminarily and we're still working out the details, that does not preclude the fact that it wouldn't, to Trustee Smith's point, still include additional staff.
Understood. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarifying point. And then finally, going back to the website, yeah, I'm grateful to see that. It's such a powerful communication tool. You know, moms and dads like me use it all the time. I mean, some pages of our internet looks like it came out when the internet came out. You know, I mean, Craigslist is a good comparison of some of it. But and that's not directed toward anybody. It is what it is. It's a huge website. I mean, that's a serious undertaking. The homepage looks good, but I did $316,000. That's a lot of money for a new website. Is that?
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
That's remember though, it's not just the district website; it's every school's website.
Okay.
So, and I will also say too that fortunately, because of our partnership with Final Site, we are going to get. I beg to differ. I don't think the front page is all right. So,
I was being kind.
I appreciate that, and I also want to be clear that our frustrations with our website are not synonymous with our communications team. So the team is not the website is not the team. As I'm looking at our chief communications officer out there, I need to say that publicly. And they would be, I think, the first to agree that we need to improve this. And Michelle has taken the lead. And soon we will have a brand new initial page on the website that will be much clearer and give you all an indication of what the full website revision will look like. So, which is going to take several months, but soon we're going to have a brand new look at the beginning, which will signal to people where we're headed.
I don't want to get into nuances because this is a major undertaking, but if I can just ask this question, would each school have their own more of an independent, tailored website look, or is that yet to be decided?
So I'm actually going to ask our chief communications officer, Michelle Anderson, to come up and address that.
I'm so sorry, Michelle. Please don't hate me.
That's not possible.
Okay.
Michelle Anderson, Chief Communications, Community Engagement Officer. So each school would have the same template so that a family that is in elementary school or middle school or high school, they can get the same information. They know exactly where it's going to be on that website. There will be some small little areas where the schools can put their logo on it, put their mascot on it, have it be a little bit more personalized, but everything will be in the same location.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. So actually, I'm glad we're still on goal 3 because that's the one I wanted to discuss. I know we're not getting into specifics or details, but when I look at the second, third, fourth, and fifth delineated items, they're all connected, especially with our immigrant families. I speak to a lot of parents that have the same interest that I do in being included with their child's education, but unfortunately, whether it's the lack of translation services or the lack of knowledge with regards to mental health, or even the effects of chronic absenteeism. Without that knowledge and that input, kids have a hard time. You know, they really don't have a good chance. So I'm really happy to see that expanding the parent-teacher home visit program, that is so important, and I'm really, really happy to see that up here. So I just want to say thank you, Dr. Enfield, because all this is stuff that we need. And no one thinks of it when you think of school district and teaching, and these are all things that really have a significant impact on our kids' ability to learn and go to school successfully. So thank you.
All right, seeing no other lights. So this is an item for action, so now would be a good time to hear from our community with public comment.
The board received an email from Colby Reardon.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, I appreciate the feedback that we've heard from everyone. Is there anyone else that would like to share their thoughts? If not, we can move forward towards a motion, which again will bear in mind this conversation that we've had as they move into the next round, which is to really build out what it is that we're looking for.
Madam President, I'm ready to make a motion. I move that the Board of Trustees provides direction on the preliminary budget for implementation and support of the Washoe County School District Strategic Plan.
All right, so motion by Trustee Alex Woodley, seconded by Trustee Colleen Westlake. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries 7-0. Thank you so much. And great work, team. Great work, team. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a brief break before we move on to our next item. So it is now 3:33, so let's go ahead and break until 3:45. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. It's 3:49. I missed us by 4 minutes. Please forgive me. We're going to go ahead and continue our meeting here of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees today on September 26th. And now we're going to move on to item 3.03. This is a very exciting day, and we, in this item, are contemplating the adoption of the Washoe County School District Board Resolution 23-018, a resolution recognizing September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in the month of the Washoe County School District. And this is an item for action, although we will get to that later. So for now, what I'd like to share with everyone that's following along about why this is so important is that the month spanning September 15th through October 15th is recognized across the United States as National Hispanic Heritage Month. And this afternoon, before we consider and take action on this resolution, recognizing the rich diversity of the communities we served, I'm very pleased to share that we are going to hear from some of the student leaders of our district that are actually creating spaces and opportunities to celebrate their Hispanic heritage and culture in their schools. And on that note, we have some members of the Hug High School Latino Club here this afternoon, and I will be introducing them. When I say your name, please stay standing so that we can recognize all of you before you sit back down and we continue. So I would like to first start and ask to please rise Juliana Ramirez. Next, Ivana Tamayo Rodriguez. Ileana Ramirez. Lucero Ramirez Moreno. Scarlett Castillo Marquez. Amy Martinez Trujillo. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And spoiler alert, now you can please sit. In just a moment, they'll be joining us for a formal presentation. And then at the very end, after we read the resolution and take our vote, we are going to have you come up here to take a photo with us as well. Okay? All right, so thank you for that. And so now, as we get started, we have a couple other guests that are going to come up here along with our students, and that is Robert Ramirez and Katie McDowell, and these are the high school staff that are the liaisons to this club. So we'd love to have you come up here to the podium and hear about your organization.
Hi, guys. So, Board of Trustees, thank you for having us today. My name is Robert Ramirez. I'm a site coordinator for communities in schools at Hug High School, and I am one of 3 advisors for our Latino Club. So, I didn't want to take too much of time. I wanted to make sure that I passed it on to them to go ahead and speak. But I just wanted to say, again, thank you for having us, and I'm going to pass it on to Ivana. She is our creator of the club. Okay, thank you guys.
Welcome, Ivana.
Thank you for having us. As you know, my name is Ivana Tamayo. I'm currently a senior at Hug High School. I've been to Hug all 4 years throughout the transition from buildings, so I've seen a lot throughout our campus and I've experienced a lot. One of the things I have noticed is there was a bit of a lack of cultural appreciation within our campus, and I felt strongly desired to switch that and transition into something new and vibrant that everyone feels inclusive and welcomed in. Because personally, I have experienced that outcasting feeling within, Hug, like high school classic cliques, right? So I've noticed that a lot of us have much in common with me and my other classmates, but we don't necessarily realize that because there's not a lot of interaction outside of school or between school. And personally, I recognize, speaking to people one-on-one, that we all kind of have the same drive and the same desire to see the same outcome within our school, which is that appreciation, and it's a support and a push to do better and strive better in their classes and outside of school. So I don't want to take up too much time either, so I did bring a couple of my colleagues and club members to speak on their take. And personally, I appreciate them very much because I recognize that similar ambition and passion in how they speak and what they desire to bring to our table. But here I'll welcome my good friend Ileana Ramirez to speak.
Welcome, Ileana.
Hi, my name is Ileana Ramirez. I'm a junior at Hug High School, and this is my first year in a club. The Latino Club was really important to me because growing up, I would listen about stories about high school, and I was so scared. I didn't know how my experience would be, but a lot of things that I heard, and a common factor, was people not feeling included. People didn't find their clique. People didn't find their group that fit into them. And I know at Hug we do have a wide variety of Hispanic students. It's a lot of minorities, a lot of cultures, a lot of ethnicity. And I think being a part of the Latino Club, I would love to make students feel at home. I want to be a part of the change. I want to make sure that students at my school know what they're getting into, want to be excited to get to school. So I think along with our fellow students and our colleagues también, I think we can do a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool activities, and I'm excited to bring that to our future at Hug High School. And then I'll pass it on to Scarlett.
Thank you so much. And welcome, Scarlett.
Thank you. My name is Scarlett Castillo. I am a senior at Hug High School, and the Latino Club is important to me because it showcased the Hispanic culture and positivity, with the vast majority making up the Hug High School population, and to be the voice to those who can't speak up for themselves. So having this opportunity will showcase that although they're terrified or scared to speak up, there's always someone there to guide them through it. So thank you. I would like to pass it on to Amy.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Amy.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Amy Martinez. I'm a senior at Hug High School. This is actually my second year at Hug. I used to go to Worcester. I think being a part of the club as a first-generation Latina is honestly something that is super cool. And at Worcester, I feel like I was never really included into anything like that. And we never had like a Latino club that I felt like, or any type of club that I thought I could be included into. And coming here and being able to be a part of this is a really big deal. I have a store, so as a first generation Latina, being able to connect with other people outside of school that also are small business owners and have experience in small businesses is honestly really cool. And being able to share my ideas with people within school that have same similarities or that share the same stories with us. I think there's a lot of minorities and there's a lot of people that share the same story, as in immigration wise. I know a lot of people that share the same story as me and that I get to connect with. Some of our future events that we want to plan out is we're going to an event for Dia de los Muertos at UNR. We're also having a fiesta at the end of the year, and then everybody can be included, and it's just cool to meet new people that have the same similarities. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have Lucero.
Lucero, welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Lucero. I am a senior at Hug High School, class of 2024. So I guess our main goal for this Latino Club is that we want to have everyone included from Hispanic or Latino descent. For me personally, when Ivana reached out to me for the first time last year, at the end of the year, she was like, I want to reach out to everyone that think this Latino Club will be important. And knowing me as a first generation Latina as well, I didn't really feel included because this is my second year at Hug as well. I used to go to Spanish Springs, and at Spanish Springs I kind of felt like an outcast over there. I didn't really see the same struggles that other people had as well, and I couldn't really have a connection over there. And so here at HUG, I feel like with the Latino group, and I have more of a connection and commonalities with them as well. And yeah, and then I'll just pass it to Juliana.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Juliana.
Hi, my name is Juliana. I am a senior at HUG High, and I'm 17. And I really do look forward into this Latino club. I got very excited when Ivana mentioned it to me last year. She's been planning it. She was very excited, and I'm obviously here to support her. I think that it's important to have a Latino club because it allows us to showcase our culture and truly show who we are. And we get to show the younger generation the opportunity to see how we are and what they should be proud of from where they're from and who they are. And like being Latina, what it means to me and what probably means to others is that we get to have the chance to learn more about our parents and our relative origins and to witness and just be a part of the beautiful celebrations and activities that they have created and engaged in. But most of all, I feel like we should be proud of what our parents have sacrificed for us. Like for my parents, they have sacrificed for me and my siblings. And even though they went through that, we still continue to stay to our Hispanic roots. And what I hope to gain, what we hope to achieve with this club as well, is to get the attention of the people, but as well as the younger generation, that our community is strong and that with dedication and hard work, anything is possible as long as you put your mind to it. And we want to continue to grow as a group alongside with the Latino Club, that no matter what, we'll be here with you. You're not alone. I know that you've been through stuff. We've been through stuff too. We experience, and we're here to help you out. And this Latino Club, for me, it's like a family. I get to, enjoy stuff, make stuff happen. And we are the next generation, but we should never forget the wisdom and our shared history of the ones before us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. So I'll open it up for any comment now, just so everyone knows, before we actually take our vote, we're going to actually have a moment where we hear directly from Clerk Rodriguez and Trustee Woodley. But for now, is there any questions for our students or our club members before we go to public comment, because this is an item for potential action?
Can we share something?
Absolutely.
Thank you, President Smith. So today I visited Bohatch Elementary School with Trustee Rodriguez, and I think you will all appreciate this. There's a teacher there, and they are celebrating Dias de la Muertes in her class, and they're bringing in and sharing stories of loss, but it's a celebration of who those individuals or even pets were. But it's an elementary school is embracing this also. So you're doing something really important, and it's going to catch fire.
I had comments. Should I wait till at the end or now? Okay, I'll just be very brief, and I'll just do this in one language. Pero quiero decir que nosotros somos una nación de inmigrantes. Mi padre era inmigrante, y sabes que that's a Mexican term, by the way, very slang. But sabes que 42% de los estudiantes aquí en el distrito son latinos. Y es muy interesante, y yo soy feliz también para asistir en dar atención a esta resolución. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. JJ, do we have any public comment on the resolution?
We do not.
All right. All right, well, before we move forward with actually reading the resolution, I'd like to also invite Clerk Rodriguez to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam President. When you kind of brought this up, I wasn't too sure what to talk about. I obviously, so I maybe just share a little bit about my story and your guys' stories that you're relating, how seeing the sacrifice in your families and the lineage, and I too, so a little bit about me. I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. both my grandfathers came over from Mexico. My mom's father, so my grandfather on my mom's side, he would actually go up to Oregon and cut trees, lumber, do logging, and come back and forth multiple times to support his family, my family, our family in Guadalajara, where ultimately he met my grandmother and they got married. So my mom actually spent the majority of her time growing up in Guadalajara, Mexico. And my dad's father, so my grandfather on my dad's side, kind of the same thing, but in Texas, and ultimately served in World War II. And a lot of sacrifices there. And obviously we have large families. I got many cousins. I'm never bored, never alone. But seeing that work ethic is amazing. And I saw it in my parents too. I actually grew up quite a bit in poverty, and I spent most of the time growing up in Austin. And seeing my parents sacrifice for me to give me all the benefits that I have today. So if Mom, Dad, you're watching, thank you. And you're right that this generation of Latinos, the Hispanics, it's upcoming, and we're seeing that. So I want to encourage you guys to continue, grow, educate yourselves, and be the future leaders. We're seeing that today. We have Commissioner Mary Luz Garcia, amazing woman, highly involved in our community. Councilwoman Martinez, another one, highly involved in our community. And Nevada's becoming we're the first in a lot of things. We had our first Hispanic governor, Brian Sandoval, and first Secretary of State, Cisco Aguilar. So we're starting to be represented finally, but we can still do better. And obviously Trustee Woodley here as well. So Washoe County is growing, and I like to see our culture be represented properly. So I mean, that's kind of a little bit all I have to say. I did look up one thing because I am a military veteran myself, just like my grandfather and my dad. There's actually 61 Medal of Honor recipients that are Hispanics. I looked at it, like, that is incredible. So we have a fighting spirit, and it's in our culture. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and I'm glad to hear that our district's starting to understand and meet our needs a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clerk Rodriguez, for sharing your story. Trustee Willie, would you like to say a few words before you read our resolution?
Yeah, I'll share a little. You'll hear me talk Spanish here in a second. But similar to Trustee Rodriguez, first generation American Latino family, from my family that went to school, went to college. I'm really happy to see you guys here, to see you guys come up and speak. It takes a lot of courage, especially when you're in the minority. I know sometimes it's difficult for people to understand, but when you don't feel that you're in the majority, there's a lot of intimidation there. I know for me personally, I've been fortunate to work in government for over 20 years, almost 30 years, and many, many times I find myself being the one brown chocolate chip in meetings, and the only thing that I will ask of you, because you guys are doing great, and I'm hoping that more organizations like yours are created throughout our school district, and I just want you to help me to make sure that in the future there's more than one chocolate chip at these meetings that make decisions and change people's lives, and that we're sitting at the table. So thank you. Thank you, Madam President. And now I'm going to read. ¿En español o en inglés? Los dos? Okay, los dos. We'll start in English. I'm going to read the resolution. The Washoe County School District Board Resolution 23-018, recognizing September 15th to October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas Washoe County School District's diverse student body includes nearly 26,000 students and their families who represent multinational, multicultural, and multilingual communities. Whereas Washoe County School District committed to celebrating and affirming every student by name, strength, and need, and providing culturally sustaining environments where our diverse students can learn and thrive. Whereas the Washoe County School District recognizes the importance of proactively providing programs and activities where students experience feelings of safety and belonging. Whereas the Washoe County School District is committed to providing all students access to equitable opportunities for success by addressing biases and eliminating institutional practices that prevent student achievement. Whereas Proctor R. Hug High School serves a 76% Hispanic student population and is supporting its Hispanic students with opportunities to come together to build connection while exploring and celebrating their culture and heritage through the Hug Latino Club. Be it resolved that the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees commends the students and adults participating in the Proctor R. Hug High School Latino Club for co-creating a safe space for students to learn and connect to their heritage, and encourages other schools to provide similar opportunities. Be it further resolved that the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees celebrates the histories, cultures, and contributions of those communities whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America, and recognizes September 15th through October 15th, 2023 as Hispanic Heritage Month in the Washoe County School District, adopted this 26th day of September 2023. Now in Spanish. Reconociendo del 15 de septiembre a 15 de octubre como el mes de la gerencia hispana, considerando que el diverso cuerpo estudiantil del Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe incluye casi 26,000 estudiantes y sus familias que representan comunidades multinacionales, multiculturales y multilingües, considerando que el Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe se comprometió a celebrar y afirmar a cada estudiante por su nombre, fortaleza y necesidad, y a brindar entornos culturalmente sostenibles donde nuestros diversos estudiantes pueden aprender y prosperar. Por cuanto el Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe reconoce la importancia de proporcionar de manera proactiva programas y actividades donde los estudiantes experimenten sentimientos de seguridad y pertenencia. Por cuanto el Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe está comprometido a brindar a todos los estudiantes acceso a oportunidades equitativas para el éxito al abordar los prejuicios y eliminar las prácticas institucionales que impiden el rendimiento estudiantil. Considerando que Proctor R. Hug High School atiende una población estudiantil hispana de 76% y apoya a sus estudiantes hispanos con oportunidades para unirse y construir conexiones mientras exploran y celebran su cultura y herencia a través del Club Latino Hug. Se resuelve que el Consejo Directivo del Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe felicita a los estudiantes y adultos que participen en el Club Latino de Proctor R. Hug High School por co-crear un espacio seguro para que los estudiantes aprenden y se conecten con su gerencia y alienten a otras escuelas a brindar oportunidades similares. Se resuelve además que el Consejo Directivo del Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe celebra las historias, culturas y contribuciones de aquellas comunidades cuyos antepasados vinieron de España, México, el Caribe, América Central y América del Sur, y reconoce del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del 2023 como el mes de la herencia hispana en el Distrito Escolar del Condado de Washoe, adoptado este 26 de septiembre del año 2023. Gracias.
And before we entertain a motion, I do want everyone to know that we are making at least recent history. I haven't done extensive research, but at least based on modern times, no resolution has ever been read, both in English and in Spanish. And so, but this will not be the last. So thank you so much. And on that note, I would be open to a motion to adopt the resolution. Clerk Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm ready to make a motion. I move that the Board of Trustees adopts Washoe County School District Board Resolution 23-017, a resolution recognizing September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in Washoe County School District.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Trustee Rodriguez, seconded by, Clerk Rodriguez, seconded by Trustee Mayberry. And before we move to a vote, I see no lights on, but I want to say thank you. Thank you to our club members that are here. You are exactly why our community and our country are in good hands. Thank you for creating space that expands education, pulls in opportunities for learning and growth because we value you and you're really leading in a way that didn't exist when we were younger. So thank you so much for that. And I'd also like to say thank you very much to my colleagues who are Hispanic, because you do bring a voice and a perspective that is incredibly important to us, and we are absolutely stronger because of it. And I can't wait for all of you to be sitting here someday. So think about that plan. All right. All those in favor of the resolution motion as made by Clerk Rodriguez and seconded by Trustee Mayberry, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0. Now let's have you come on up here for a photo. Thank you. Yeah, that was wonderful. All right, everyone, we'll just pause for one moment while our guests depart. And so with that motion, we close out item 3.03 and all of section 3 in its entirety. And we move on now to section 4. For item 4.01, our student representative is not here with us today, so we will go ahead and move past that and go to board reports. So today, let's go ahead and start with Trustee Alex Woodley.
All right, I'll start it off. Thank you. Since our last meeting that I've attended, I had the privilege of visiting the Glenn Duncan Elementary School, Trainer Middle School. I met with the principal, and we had a recent scare there, and I had a discussion with her, and she was very impressed by the response by our school police department. And fortunately, it wasn't as serious as we thought it was, or it could be, so I'm happy to hear that. I also visited with Peavine Elementary and actually got to do some code enforcement while I was in the neighborhood to assist them with some parking spaces. So that was good. I also had the privilege of participating in a back-to-school supply run. So that was fun. Had a lot of big bags to give out. I attended the Big Brothers and Big Sisters Gala. They actually raised over $600,000 within our community. And we all know what they do is all about kids. Those kids are in our school district. So it's wonderful that we have these kind of community partners. I'm very, very proud to have been a part of that. I also had a couple meetings with different chaplains in the community, having discussions about educating our community on youth suicides and opportunities that are out there. I also attended the Children's Cabinet's second annual Washoe County Youth Mental Health Summit. I wasn't able to stay there and watch our own Dr. Enfield, but I did hear and received text messages that she brought the house down that afternoon. She was amazing. So thank you for representing us so well, Dr. Enfield. We appreciate that. And that was at the Grace Church in Northwest Reno. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Trustee Church.
Right. We have a picture or two for this time, but I attended number one, a Raider Meet Junior ROTC event at Reno High School, along with Trustee Westlake. Pleasant Valley Fair, which was really neat. It was like me being back in school, the cakewalk and everything. Oh, cool. It was wonderful. And then, of course, I had my town hall. That went very well. Pizza, I had a few complaints, but other than that, it was free, so what the heck. Yeah. And I got a couple other events planned this weekend. And then what I have up there, at the town hall, it came up, and again, people have misconceptions, said, you haven't done a single site visit in the last year. Well, I know you can't read that, but there's about 30 or 40 visits up there. Some of them in my district, Pleasant Valley, blah, 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 Piccolo, Demonte Ranch High School, HERS, Poloquitas, Brown, etc., and then the various schools outside my district. And I think even more importantly, or not more importantly, but equally important, are the different other events that I attended in the last year. So I just wanted to set the record straight because, you know, the expression of a misconception is halfway around the world before the truth has its shoes on. So there it is right there, all the different events that I attended in the last year. And I'm sure I probably forgot some. And I hopefully will be attending many more in the next year. But I just wanted to set the record straight on that. And then the next picture is, there's the JROTC car wash there by the Walmart on Demonte Ranch. And I attended that, and just a wonderful event. I have to admit my bias, being a military officer, to the JROTC program. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful program, and I'm highly supportive. And I got, a minute and a half left, but I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
All right, Trustee Westlake.
Thank you very much. I am so grateful to be busy again going into schools. Jerry Whitehead, I want to congratulate them on receiving the Gold Award for home visits. 62% of their team visited 30% of families. Natchez took the silver and Desert Skies the bronze. So great work, you guys. I got to read at Sun Valley Elementary School in the kindergarten classes. I'm starting that up again. I did attend the Washoe County Youth Mental Health Summit at Grace Church. We have enormous amount of work to do there, and I know we can do it. And yes, Dr. Enfield eloquently rocked the house, so thank you. The school visits, Bud Beasley, Jerry Whitehead, Dilworth, Lincoln Park, Sparks Middle School. I have to say at Sparks Middle School, they're doing a college assignment in journalism at Sparks Middle School. They are filming their student announcements, and then the kids behind the scene are editing. Very impressed with that. Bohatch and Shaw Middle School today with Trustee Rodriguez. I attended the FMP at Reed High School, and that's great, continuing on with those discussions. And the JROTC, I absolutely would not want to do some of the events they did. They looked extremely difficult, but it was great. And then I do also have some pictures that I wanted to share. So this is Dozers and Dirt. This is our construction community raising awareness, raising money for Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation. And these are all volunteers. There was REMSA in attendance, the Sheriff Department, Truckee Meadows Fire, Forestry Department, the kiddos. There's a video of my 2 grandsons sitting in a loader here. They get to take rides in loaders and excavators, and there's a video here of
I want to get the whole ensemble. I'm going to get
that's
Bye,
my middle
guys.
son.
Love you. See you. Yeah, see you later, alligator. Go do some good dirt.
But this is just amazing for the kids. They all got swag bags, and they got to meet sheriffs, REMSA, firefighters. It's truly amazing. And I just want to throw it out really quick. Students, operators of heavy equipment make an really great wage. So look into that career.
Thank you, Trustee Westlake. Clerk Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. And I have to agree, Trustee Westlake, I've seen some of those guys that got nicer trucks than I do.
Yeah.
So, for sure. Yeah, this week's honestly it's been a little bit light. Yeah, I did have a visit with at Bohatch Elementary School and Shaw Middle School with Trustee Westlake. So I thank you for joining me on that. And I also did to speak with Courtney with Spread the Word Nevada. They do quite a bit of cool stuff. If you guys haven't heard, I'm really excited because I'm going to kind of nudge us to maybe have a presentation done by them. So it's actually an amazing organization. They actually help implement and bring books and build home libraries. So there's actually a lot of kids that are not very fortunate that don't have that many books, and they actually look at bringing in books for, into the schools and then offer those same books that kids are interested in reading to their homes. So it's actually pretty sweet. Yeah, again, it's kind of light this week, but that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I look forward to us hearing more from Spread the Word Nevada and more school visits. Thanks.
Thank you. Vice President Nicolette.
Thank you. I attended the Washoe County Youth Mental Health Summit and did have the honor of hearing our superintendent share the vision of the future, a future that supports students. And she, for the first time I ever heard it, was Team Kids, and I will continue to use that. The real message I think that was most important is for our community to come together in a partnership, all of us coming together for our children, for their success, for their future, and for our future as well. Dr. Laura Davidson showcased, if you will, student voices. 7 students, it doesn't matter. 7 students who shared their stories about social emotional learning and some of the struggles through COVID and how their teachers help them. They help each other. And it was really enlightening to hear the students. They were very, very brave in telling their stories. I don't know if I could have done that. I learned about the Washoe County Children's Mental Health Consortium. They do incredible work. Go online, you can hear more about that. I visited 5 of our schools, and what I tried to focus on was hearing iReady stories, the challenges, the successes, the wanting more training, how they're going to use the data and share it across the grades as far as students, and the ways that they're going to work together to help with student success. It was really wonderful. They let me kind of be a spy, if you will, and all I did was listen and learn, and it was a real gift. I participated as a judge in the McQueen speech and debate tournament. That was fun. I will tell you, I was very humbled. I was honored to judge the speeches for apparently the kids are seniors and they're like top notch, and I felt that, you know, I have a lot to learn about how students are learning about providing a speech these days and the topics that they get to choose, and so I'm going to do it again. I got to tell you, these students were amazing. I felt like I was in a history class because the questions they chose and they answered was just wonderful. And then I attended 3 FMPs, and that is another listen and learn opportunity for me through a very diverse communities throughout those 3 schools I was at. And I had fun.
With 11 seconds to spare. All right. Trustee Mayberry.
Thank you, Madam President. Gosh, I'm sorry I missed the Mental Health Youth Summit. Gosh, sounds like I missed out there, so maybe next year. But I appreciate everybody's comments on that. I had an opportunity to visit Demonte Ranch High School last week with Principal Darville, and as you know, that's our signature program for performing arts. And the show Frozen will be playing there for the holiday season, so that'll be a lot of fun if you want to break out in song. You know, Let It Go, and I'm sorry, I'm feeling it right now. Right. I also had an opportunity to have a parent-teacher home visit on Saturday. We visited little Scarlett Mina Lopez with, Matthews Elementary, I believe. Anyways, wonderful opportunity to experience the home and to hear the stories of our youngsters. Also attended the Corona, Nevada law firm reception where there were a lot of our community leaders that were there. And the reason I bring that up is I had a lot of very positive feedback on what this board is doing, how this board operates, and the superintendent and the progress that we have made. So it's kudos to all of you for that. I also want to give a shout out to the 15 high school students that have been named the semifinalists for the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program. I think the district issued a press release on that today. So kudos to them. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so for those of you who are looking for something this evening, and this does tie in really well with our resolution, we have a few more facilities modernization plans meeting, including one that's being held tonight at the Sparks Library, and then on September 27th at the Neal Road Rec Center. And these 2 meetings are very important because they're going to be held exclusively in Spanish. So while we have had these meetings throughout our community and always have had translation available to these members, this meeting is entirely in Spanish. So I want to say thank you for those who helped make that happen, and please participate. I met with several Reno High School civic students about local public service. They were doing some projects involving speaking with local government leaders. I attended a facilities modernization plan community meeting at Swope Middle School. And I had a really wonderful time. This is where the picture is going to come up. So at Huffaker Elementary School, I attended the reveal of their new student art mural. It was based on the American artist Charles McGee. Art teacher Jessica Baker created Huffaker Harmony. And so every single student in that school created one of these strips of paper, and then they brought it together for this beautiful mural. So that was really, and the children just erupted in joy when they saw that. They were so proud. I also visited McQueen High School with Principal Holbrook, and the athletic director there, Lucas Weber, had a great visit to that school. Do you know that their colors were originally supposed to be orange, red, and yellow? Yes, very interesting, which is why the lockers look like that. So I learned a lot about the school, what makes it great, and I just had a really nice time. Also, along with Vice President Nicolette and Trustee Woodley and Westlake, I took part in the Youth Mental Health Summit. WCSD was a sponsor, and then several members of our teams were speakers, including Catherine Loudon, Dr. Paula Marca, and Dr. Enfield. Of course, met with several families, and I appreciate all the families and the staff members that do reach out so that we can talk about what you need and the ideas that you have. And then finally, I would like to remind everyone that the Dolan class project is open for submissions until this Friday, September 29th. So this wonderful community partner of ours is offering $100,000 to schools within the broader community, so that includes Washoe County and beyond. 15 classes will win $5,000. One school will win $25,000. And the intent is to elevate their classroom, their school, and student learning. So thank you so much for that, and I hope to see lots of submissions from our educators, and can't wait till we get to the community voting. So thank you. I also had about 11 seconds left, so I did it. All right, thank you all very much. All right, that closes item 4.02, and now we move on to item 4.03, our superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Smith. I want to start by thanking not just our HUG students who came, but also our community and schools partners who are so instrumental in supporting our students. It's a wonderful organization. A couple of things to share. First of all, I mentioned to trustees last year that we were going to be partnering with the Council of Great City Schools to do some program reviews for us, special education, alternative education, and ELL supports and services. So they have begun their work interviewing staff, looking at our documents. I have some preliminary findings, but we'll have the full report within the next month or so, and we'll share those with you. But so far, it's been incredibly important information. We have a lot of work to do, but we know that, and we're up for the challenge. So I want to thank the Council of Great City Schools team for coming in and doing that. I also wanted to thank Mayor Lawson from the City of Sparks, who joined us last week at both Desert Skies Middle School and Whitehead Elementary when we gave them their parent-teacher home visit awards. It was wonderful. He was quite the celebrity sighting for the students. And at yesterday's City Council meeting where I presented, he said that it was the highlight of his week. And other council members expressed interest in joining me on school visits. And so our communications team is going to reach out to them to share my calendar. And so when I visit schools in the beautiful city of Sparks, we may have our council members. And I also want to thank the Sparks City Council and the mayor for their tremendous support and partnership with our schools. I'm grateful for that. And finally, I am so sorry, trustees, that we dropped the ball for somehow, I'm not sure how, we're going to fix it, and you didn't know about the kickoff for the... Yeah, yes, we have the right T. But the kickoff for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So for those of you who don't know, on Saturday, thanks to Blake Pang, who, by the way, was part of our strategic planning, one of our strategic planning committees. He's a wonderful partner who heads up the United Way of Northern Nevada and the Sierras. He took the lead in bringing the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to Northern Nevada. So it's us, it's Churchill, Douglas, I'm not sure which other counties. But for those of you who don't know, Dolly Parton, who I think is a national treasure, for decades now has supported her Imagination Library, which in partnership with local communities and the United Way and Blake were instrumental in getting legislative support to fund this, provides a book every month for children from birth to age 5. That means that by the time a child is 5 years old, they can have a personal library of 60 books, which is significant. And so we are going to do, and I've talked with Michelle and Emma, we are going to do a full court press on this, and I will not rest until every child in Washoe County has signed up for this service. So right now, you can go on to the United Way of Northern Nevada's website, and right on the homepage, you can scan the QR code to sign your child up or someone you know. That's their website is uwnns.org. Soon we will have that available on our website and our partner organizations and city partners as well. It's going to be everywhere because, as I said, every child we need signed up for this. So grateful to the United Way for taking the lead on this. It's been sort of a dream of mine, only surpassed perhaps by actually having Dolly Parton come to Washoe County because we did such a good job enrolling every eligible child. I got my picture next to her cutout, which was great, but I'm still holding out for the real thing. And I believe that as a community, we can do that. So thank you very much, United Way and City of Sparks, for all your support for our students, and that's all I have.
I love the idea of having Dolly Parton on our vision board. Right?
Yes, thank
Okay. Well, that closes item 4.03, and then now we'll move on to section 5, our closing items. On item 5.01, JJ, who are we welcoming for public comment?
Gordon Gossage. Roger Edwards.
Hi, Mr. Edwards. Welcome.
Well, good evening. You know, I feel kind of let down and I feel kind of vindicated. For years and years, I've been coming before you waving your agendas. No quality of education items on your agenda. Here you've got a whole new strategic plan. I feel so rewarded and kind of, now what do I do? All right, well, there's still some comments I need to make. Focus is everything, and I've been up here raving about focus for years and years. And you know, it's tough when you're on a commission. I spent 8 years on the planning commission, so I know a little bit about what I speak. When you're draining the swamp and fighting alligators, it's hard to prioritize what you need to do, and without dropping the ball or protecting your six. But you need to keep doing that. You know, your director got up here and talked about, you know, 9 out of 20 in his report, stuff like that. That's so demoralizing. That's not even 45%. You know, let's just hope this new strategic plan works. But it's another 2 years. And you know, I'm very, very old. I graduated in 1964. If somebody wants to write that down. And then we complained that only 75% of the graduating class was ready for junior college. 75%. 90s, I think it was like 91 or 92% graduated, but 75%, and they were complaining about, are ready to go to junior college. That means they pass SAT and ACT and all this other stuff. We have a lot of work to do, and you know, years down the road, the community's not going to remember that you put a new air conditioner on Mendive Middle School or paved the parking lot at one of the other schools. You just go down the list of all the stuff you have to deal with at every meeting. And that's part of the job, I understand. But what they're going to remember is that 9 out of 20 graduated and were ready to go on to higher education. Focus, please focus, okay? Redirect your efforts, skip all the crap. And you know, I live out by North Valley High School, and every day I drive by there, rarely at 2:30 because I'm in a school board meeting, but the kids are getting out of school at 2:30. What? You know, it's hard enough to get an education through these folks with all the crap they got to deal with. Keep them in school for a full day, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bruce Foster.
Hi, Mr. Foster. Welcome.
Can you pass those out? Thank you.
Well, I was hoping you'll be getting a handout, and I want to thank Dr. Enfield. I'm Bruce Foster, by the way, dad of 6, granddad of 9, and I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and want to be sure I utilize the respectful pronouns. And I, again, wish to go back to Dr. Enfield's announcement about Dolly Parton and her support of the library system. What you have before you is the face of an avowed Marxist. Emily Drabinsky is the president of the American Library Association, as she spoke at the Socialism Conference of 2023. And this was in Chicago earlier this month. And just as a side note, all the attendees had to wear a face diaper. But her quote is, "I think your point that public education needs to be a site of socialist organizing. I think libraries really do too. We need to be on the agenda of socialist organizing." Well, I have a concern, certainly with the Washoe County School District, as I already presented this to the County Commission in regarding understanding that Jeff Scott, the director of the library system, is joined at the hip with this president of the ALA. And this brings me to the library system within the school system, you know, producing or having available great literature, To Kill a Mockingbird or Red Badge of Courage. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not really talking about that type of literature, which has incredible, virtuous literature value. I'm talking about what's available, which I don't quite understand, is, for example, No Way, They Were Gay. Queer There and Everywhere. 23 People Who Changed the World. A Quick and Easy Guide to Queer Trans Identities. This is Reed High School, and that's a part of, in that literature. Also, all this is available. I included many other books. I did read All Boys Are Not Blue by a gentleman, George Hamilton, I believe, and I'm not going to describe, you can read it yourself, and it's his gay encounters. So I just want to leave you with that, and I just asked why. What redeeming value are these books?
Thank you so much. We appreciate you having you with us.
The board received emails from Bob Heinrich and Carol Robertson.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much to our speakers. All right, everyone, so that closes item 5.01 and brings us to item 5.02. This is our next meeting announcement. Our next regularly scheduled meeting of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees will be Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. And then that brings us to item 5.03. Adjourn at 4:46 p.m. Thank you.